to honor everyone's time, we're going to go ahead and begin promptly with our webinar this afternoon. With us today, we have U.S. Congressman Filemon Vela Jr. and also Angela Burton, District Director of the Lower Rio Grande Valley District Office for the U.S. Small Business Administration. We want to go ahead and thank both of them for being present this afternoon. I understand Congressman has another meeting shortly, and we're going to go ahead and begin. Congressman Vela, thank you for joining us, and once again, thank you for all that you do for us and our constituents in the Lower Rio Grande Valley. Today, this afternoon, I know we spoke last week and we discussed different matters, but as of last Friday, the recently passed CARES Act, there has been a lot of different conversations and a lot of different updates. At this moment, I welcome you to join us in the conversation as we look forward to your updates, sir.
Thank you, and thank all of you for joining this call, and thank you all for having me. I'll just touch very briefly on the health aspect of the coronavirus epidemic, because I just got off the phone with the county health director. We are all seeing what's unfolding in New York City, New Orleans, and Detroit, you know, and of course praying for everybody there. But on a call this morning with some of our congressional colleagues on the health subcommittees, they're seeing some ray of hope in places like the state of Washington, where all this began, and in San Francisco, where things were pretty bad early on. They're beginning to see some things stabilize, and they're hoping that that's because of the social distancing that they've been practicing. But even then, you know, they're not ready to call it a victory yet, but we'll keep watching that. At the county level, we have 26 cases confirmed. We expect a few more, but I spoke to the county health director a while ago. And the good news is they're not seeing the kind of doubling of cases every day, and most of the cases that we do have are related. For example, 7 of the 26 cases are connected because they were all travel related, and then there's another cluster of 3 or 4 kind of the same categories. But anyway, last time I spoke to you, we were on the verge of passing the third stimulus package, or what we call the CARES Act.
Hey, wait, hold on. What the fuck are you talking about?
And we all please mute our microphones. We can hear everything you're saying.
Oh yeah, please can you mute it, sir?
Excuse me, give me 1 second, Congressman. We're going to go ahead and verify that they're all muted. I apologize for that. Give me 1 second, sir.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay, we should be all muted now. Congressman?
You can hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So on Saturday, Congress passed the CARES Act. The president signed that, and we're waiting for the administration. The administration is now starting to do its implementation. Very briefly, with respect to small businesses, the key points on the key points to make with respect to the stimulus package are these things. One, that there will be a $1,200 one-time payment for.
I'm sorry, Congressman, I apologize for the interruption. Once again, everyone on the call, we have close to 100 callers. I respectfully ask that you please keep your comments at this moment. We have everyone muted on this call. Please do not unmute your microphone. We will take your questions and answers through the group chat.
So anyway, there's a $1,200 one-time payment for every adult and $500 per child for those making $75,000 or less. There is a $600 a week boost to unemployment benefits for up to 4 months. That is on top of the state unemployment insurance benefit that each unemployed person is entitled to. And finally, there was a $350 billion loans package to the SBA for the Payment Protection Program, which essentially gives every small business that qualifies up to 8 weeks of loans to be able to pay for their employees, their rent, utilities and things like that. The most important thing about that is if it's used for the purposes that it's supposed to be, that loan is forgiven. It essentially becomes a grant. That is separate and apart from the economic injury disaster loan, which I'm sure Angela will touch on. You can apply for both, but you've got to be careful about it because there's some conditions attached when you apply for both. And one final very important thing is the law also provided some emergency relief to the tune of a $10,000 grant that is available 3 days after you fill out the application. That should be available here pretty immediately. The regional SBA office is waiting to hear from National SBA, and I think they expect to have that information here in the next few days. Saying that, thanks for having me. Feel free to reach out to our office at 202-225-9901. If anybody has any specific questions for us, let the chamber know, and we will reach out to you directly.
Sir, we thank you for your time. We understand you have limited time as you're heading to a different webinar. I do apologize for the multiple interruptions throughout your presentation. We've muted everyone. We will go ahead and submit the questions to your department directly, to your district director. That way they could be addressed. I do know there's several questions that will arise soon after we adjourn our conversation. We will follow up with you with those questions. And once again, we thank you for all that you do, you and your staff. And we look forward to a update in the very near future from you.
Thank you, Esmeralda. One last thing is this morning, I think you emailed a question and answer that we provided to the chamber to everybody with respect to the Small Business Administration. And this afternoon, we are going to send you a summary of all the provisions in the CARE Act, which you can deliver to everybody on this call as well.
Yes, sir. We thank you for that. Once received, we will go ahead and send out to all of our members and promote also on all social media platforms so they can have access to this information. At this moment, we welcome Angela Burton with the U.S. Small Business Administration. Angela, it's great to have you back. Can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. For those of you that are able to see on screen, I put up assistance from SBA Resource Partners. Before I get started, I want to let you know that if you need help in reconstructing financial records, preparing financial statements, or submitting the loan application, our resource partners are available to you. So in this area, it is the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley Small Business Development Center. There's a phone number, 956-665-7535, and they are also advising over the phone and via internet website. So go ahead and call them up if you need support on the different, or you need information regarding the different loan products. We also have SCORE. Somebody moving my mouse around there. Let's see. We also have SCORE, who can also help you. So if you go to the SCORE website and put in there's an area where you can put in your zip code, that will be forwarded to SCORE advisors or counselors in your area. So I wanted to, before I get started, I want to let you know that there is support out there. And of course, you always have our SBA office, your local office. Our office covers 14 counties, but we're located in Harlingen. The phone number here is 956-427-8533 in case you have questions, okay? So I'm going to go back up to the top of the presentation. So we've had conversation today about the CARES Act. And so on the agenda, the SBA right now has, within the 3 pieces of legislation, has 5 different programs going on right now. However, 2 of those programs, which are the ones that most folks want to know about, which is the Paycheck Protection Program, again, as the congressman said, we don't have any guidance on it yet. That is the same. That is also true with the SBA Debt Relief program. Now, your economic injury disaster loan is still in full force, and your economic injury disaster loan advance is still in full force.
Angela, if I may interrupt for a little bit, I'm going to make some changes. That way there is no camera available to anybody.
Okay. Are we ready, or?
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay, we should be good.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I'm back. All right. So the SBA, at this time, we have 5 different programs, okay? Your Paycheck Protection Program will be managed through your local lender or the SBA 7A lenders, okay? The second one is the SBA Debt Relief, and it will be managed by local 7A lenders. Your Economic Injury Disaster Loan is a direct loan through the SBA. Your Economic Injury Disaster Loan Advance is a direct grant through the SBA, or what we're calling an advance. And then we have the SBA Express Bridge Loan, and that is done through SBA Express lenders. All right. I already talked a little bit about our resource partners, and we'll move on here. So since we had our webinar last week, obviously the CARES Act is passed. So whenever we have legislation, and I put this in here because in my world, here at the SBA, it's ever changing. I can say one thing right now and it might be different, 10 minutes later. The times and conditions change so rapidly that we must keep our aim constantly focused on the future. And that's a Walt Disney quote. And again, I know that many of you have applied, have reapplied, have gone on our website, and it's constantly changing. I'm at the point now where I'm thinking that the upgrades to the economic injury disaster loan application have been simplified and more streamlined. So the Paycheck Protection Program. Again, I cannot comment on this. If you ask me questions, I'm not going to be able to answer. However, the information that possibly the congressman is sending out, that comes through the Small Business Committee at Congress. That may have some additional information, but at this time, I cannot comment on any of the technicalities of the program. What I do have up here is that eligible recipients may qualify for a loan up to $10 million, determined by 8 weeks of prior average payroll, plus an additional 25% of that amount. Loan payments will be deferred for 6 months. If you maintain your workforce, SBA will forgive the portion of the loan proceeds that are used to cover the 8 weeks of payroll and certain other expenses. And then again, details are forthcoming. So we're expecting to have the details for this Paycheck Protection Program by the end of the week. Okay, the SBA Debt Relief, again, that will be managed by authorized SBA lenders, and guidance on the program is pending. So under this program, SBA will also pay the principal and interest of a new 7A loan issued prior to September 27, 2020. The SBA will pay the principal and interest of a current SBA loan or 7A loan for a period of 6 months. Details are forthcoming, so that is another opportunity for support, small business support. Okay, the economic injury disaster loan. This is the one that we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks. You can apply for this loan up to $2 million and no payments for 12 months. It's available to all small businesses and private nonprofits. For instance, chambers of commerce and other nonprofits are eligible to apply. You can use it for fixed debt, payroll, accounts payable, or bills, anything that you pay during that month. So for instance, if you're running a small shop and you have your rent and your utilities, your employees, your suppliers, those types of things will be covered. The interest rate is very low, it's 3.75%, and for nonprofits, it's 2.75%. Also, the term of the loan is 30 years. So that means that you can extend your term out so long that your payment isn't going to interrupt. Once you get back on your feet, you're not going to have this big, large loan that you have to repay. The other thing about it is you can repay it. I mean, you're going to get the loan, or you may get the loan for 30 years, but you obviously can pay it off without any penalties. And the last one is the $10,000 loan advance, and I'll move forward on this. So the reason you didn't see this in the beginning is because this was part of the CARES Act. So folks that applied for the economic injury disaster loan did not know that this would happen, or they may have known, but it hadn't passed in the CARES Act. So now if you've applied for the economic injury disaster loan, you may have gotten an email within the last couple of days basically telling you if you want the advancement to reapply or to go through this application process again. And I've had a couple of calls today, and folks said, oh my God, I got to go through it again. It's a simplified, streamlined process. If you have the paperwork from when you applied the first time, just use the same information and the same numbers on the second time. And according to law, if you do a successful application for this advancement, obviously remember, this is a loan, but you're getting an advancement. This advancement will be forgiven, okay? So it's an advancement of what you may get. So say, for instance, it's determined that you're gonna need a loan to keep yourself afloat for, say, 6 months, and it's determined that you're gonna need $30,000, you're gonna get an advancement of $10,000, that will be forgiven, so your loan will only amount to $20,000. I hope that makes sense. Hope I did my math correct. Again, there's no cost to apply. A lot of folks are asking me, Angela, do I apply for this or do I apply for that? What I'm saying is, you know what, apply for it. Apply for it, apply for it. You could choose not to take it if you find that the other loan products or the other products that are coming out are going to be better for you. At least apply, and then you don't have to take it. There's no obligation to take the loan. But it is one of, a product that will enable you to have some money quickly in your pocket to keep your business up and running, or at least to keep your employees. For loans under $200,000, there's no personal guarantee. And then if your loan is $25,000 or more, there will be collateral required, but it's not going to be, it's not going to be, the terms are have been loosened a little bit. So we're going to work with you because we want to make sure that you stay in business. Let's see. Okay, who's ineligible? So a lot of folks have been calling me. They want to know if they're CBD and all that. You know, we had even there's one manufacturer of medical marijuana here in Texas. There's 3 that have been approved, and they were even calling. Anything that's illegal to the federal government is not going to be able to apply. Well, you can apply, but you may not get the loan. So any businesses where gambling is more than 1/3 of the annual gross, you're talking about casinos, racetracks, businesses that are sexual in nature, pawn shops where 50% of the income is derived from interest, religious organizations, investment or lending companies. Wow, what happened? Charitable organizations, not private nonprofits, are okay. All speculative activities and agricultural enterprises. So we use the USDA for the agricultural side. So how to apply? Okay, so go to the website. I have it up here. Can I copy it? Let me see here. I'm going to copy it to the chat box. Okay.
Angela,
you can apply there.
If I may interrupt really quickly, I want to make sure that we all understand and we respect everyone's time. I ask once again for everyone to be respectful with your words and comments in the chat. We have removed some of the participants due to the language being used. I once again ask to be respectful of everyone on this chat and this webinar. You will be removed if we see those participants continue to use inappropriate words at the moment. Thank you, Angela.
All right. I guess Cousin Jay doesn't have better things to say. Okay. There's a website to apply. It works on your iPhone with Safari or Chrome on Android. If you're using a PC, using the application works best with Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge. You can also contact the SBA Disaster Customer Service Center. I put the 1-800 number in there. 1-800-659-2955. And there is also an email to follow up. It's a disaster customer service at sba.gov. Okay. Now I know some of you we're working to, let me put this up here. That's what the new Streamlined product looks like for the loan application. Again, it is very easy. It'll take most of you no more than 20 minutes to do. We are fielding phone calls here at the office if you have a question. So once you apply, so if you've already applied and you've gone back, you've gotten the email and you've gone back and asked for the advance, right? You got to remember that's an advance to your loan. But in the meantime, your loan is in the queue for processing. So they're going to verify your information. They're going to look at your forecast. They're going to have a loan officer contact you, or what we consider a customer service person contact you. And then the decision will be made within 4 weeks. Once the loan closes, we expect to get your initial disbursement at $25,000 within 5 days. And then the case manager will be signed to your loan. So we're working on moving things along a little bit quicker. Okay, so just so you know, when you're applying, you're not approaching the SBA saying, I need this much money. We're basically looking at your financials and your responses on the application. So anything that you need or that you're utilizing to run your business throughout the month, any expenses, you need to make sure and include them. So if your expenses are, say, $2,000 a month to run your business, then we're going to look at it for 6 months. So that's going to be, you know, $12,000, and we're going to say, here's $12,000 since these are the expenses for your month. If you have a fluctuation, then that'll be the time when the customer service representative calls you to talk about your loan. That'll be the time to discuss that with that person. If you need more funds, we can increase, but we'll be asking for documentation. If you need less funds, you can request a reduction in your loan. If denied, you will have 6 months to provide an appeal, and if you're denied a second time, you'll have 30 days to appeal again. And please complete and submit everything as required. On this next slide, this is also a program that is currently in operation. It's called the SBA Express Bridge Loan. So if you're really in need, if you're really hurting and you just can't wait for your idle loans to get here, then we have lenders in the area that are express lenders, and so they can bridge your loan for you. In other words, they can provide the funding for you in the meantime. Once you get your loan from the SBA, your economic injury disaster loan, then you'll repay the lender. So it's kind of a bridge. And there's a list of those lenders in this particular district that are what we call express lenders. So if you're in real desperate need, they should be able to do the SBA Express Bridge Loan for you. Okay, if you have an existing SBA loan, there are certain deferments that are coming about. Again, we want to provide additional information once we get the packages together, the information together for the loans that came within the CARES Act. The one thing I can tell you is if you currently have a loan, a disaster loan, your disaster loan is deferred through December 31st. So in other words, when we had the floods a year ago, I guess it was in June, and even prior to that, a year before that, we had floods in June. If you got a disaster loan, then your disaster loan has been deferred until the 31st of December. Let's see here. This is talking about our resource partners and how we can support your efforts with different help, cash flow, messaging, helping you get your social media together, your supply chain, strategic planning, and those kinds of things. And then the last, second to last slide again is our resource partners, the Small Business Development Center. You also have the incubator over there next to, I'm having a brain fart.
Price Road.
Price Road, thank you very much. And they'll also support folks that are in need of help in putting their application together. Again, to keep up with the most recent changes, again, everything's changing so rapidly. Wow! I'm sorry, our electricity just blew. Are you there?
Yes.
Whoa. Yeah, all of a sudden it was dark. Okay. You can sign up.
So you're on the last slide, additional info and resources.
Okay, I was trying to remember. You can sign up for our newsletter that will send out updates. You can sign up at www.sba.gov /update, or we have a Twitter channel, which is at SBA GOV, or our local Twitter channel, which is at SBA lower what is it? The lower underscore. Thank you. underscore SBA underscore LRGV is the local channel for Twitter. Again, our number here is 956-427-8533. My extension is 231.
Angela, this is, of course, it's a great presentation. We keep on hearing more and more updates. I know that we have multiple questions through our chat. One of the ones that we constantly see and are getting is, we're going to be able to share this information. Is this correct?
I'm sorry?
We're going to be able to share your presentation with everyone, correct?
Share my presentation with everyone.
Share your PowerPoint
yes.
presentation.
Yes, but again, you know,
It's
again, everything changes so quickly. Like last week, you were sharing the presentation, and by the time you got it out to 2 or 3 people, information had changed. So please be aware, and I would add a disclaimer that this information is subject to change.
Yes, and what we'll do, we will go ahead and download the video recording, and it's shared by end of day or early tomorrow morning with, of course, the existing presentation. And as we all know, the information will constantly be changing, but at least people have, have a copy of this presentation. I know there's great information that was mentioned in regards to the different available loans and specifics of the available express lenders here locally. And I think that's what we're getting through the chat. Danae, was there other questions?
I can take any questions if you want. I'm here to take questions if needed.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll try to log back on. I mean, it's up to you. I'm here at your service.
No, thank you. At this moment, we do open for questions through the chat. There is one. It states, what does a successful application entail? Please explain.
Wow. What does I'm completing it. So on the application, on the new application, there's going to be a little red bar next to each entry, and if you have to make sure and fill out that entry, any entry that has the little red bar, you're gonna have to make sure and fill out. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us, and we'll do our best to answer. But making sure that you're filling out all of the information that's requested to the best of your ability. This is kind of a, we're looking at sort of a, I don't know, how can I put this? We're entrusting that the information you're providing is true and correct. And there is a paragraph on there, a disclaimer that talks about perjury. So we want to make sure that when you are filling it out, if you are contacted, because a lot of it, we're not asking for documents at this point. So a lot of folks, we may, once we begin the process, once it gets to a customer service representative, they may ask you for profit and loss statements. So to the best of your ability, please fill out the document correct, true and correct.
Angela, so as you're going through the process of the application, as you're filling out the application, you can go ahead and save the information and go back? Or would the information not be saved properly if you exit and not complete the process?
That's a good question. I do not know. I can find out. But again, this application is so simple that you shouldn't have a problem. You shouldn't have to go and come back.
Okay.
You're gonna need your revenues basically, and you're gonna need your expenses. They're not gonna ask you for details, but you're gonna have to give the total amount.
Great.
Angela, we do have a question from Karen. She's asking if there is a difference between the $10,000 grant through the CARES Act and the $10,000 advance from the economic disaster loan.
So that's one and the same. There's not two different ones. A lot of folks are calling it a grant. It's actually an advance to the loan. That doesn't have to be paid back.
So that answers.
I do want to tell you, I have here on my in from Washington, it says information on the PPP, including the application, has been posted at the Treasury Department website. The information will be on SBA website shortly. So again, what I talked about having ready for Friday, it seems like that information will be up today. So that's great.
We have another question from Graham. He's asking if their application is rejected for an input error or for being incomplete, can we amend/complete the application, or is it simply rejected and we would then have to contest the rejection?
That's a good question. I think that I would have to refer you to the customer service number, which is the 1-800 number. For that question. I apologize. I do not know that answer. I can find out and give it to Esme.
Thank you. And we would appreciate that if we can go ahead and contact Graham directly also, or just be able to share that information to everyone as well, should they encounter the same challenges.
I just want to tell everyone thank you for being so patient. You know, we have had such an influx of folks and people that need support and small businesses that need support. We are getting to everyone as quickly as we can. I do understand it's important. I do understand that it's folks' livelihoods, but my staff and I, and even the folks in DC and where they're processing the loans, which is in Fort Worth, everyone understands that it's very important that we get things done and we get things done correctly. And so I want to thank everyone for their patience, because we're wanting to, even though we're, the process might be a little slow right now, they're learning and things are getting better and faster as we go each day. So please have faith and know that we're here to support the small business community. And you always have a friend in this SBA office.
Thank you, Angela. And I think I speak on behalf of everyone on the call, and of course our chamber and our board member and our members. We truly appreciate and genuinely appreciate your time and your team's efforts. We're all in this together, and we keep on saying, and I think that's the same message that we all want to really stress out. We're in this together, and this shall always pass through, soon we hope, but the most important part is that we educate ourselves and we know how to move forward and how to plan. And with that said, the information that you provide is of utmost importance to everyone. And we rely, of course, on your advice and, of course, of the presentations with most, accurate information. I just saw another question, I'm sorry, and it's from, let's see, Deborah, and it reads, we sent in a paper copy from the SBA's disaster website before it changed, and we filled out the form online yesterday. I believe the paper copy went to Fort Worth. Is this going to be confusing to the SBA?
No. Did you receive the email about the $10,000 advance?
I'm sorry, would you be asking her directly, or you?
Yes. Has she received a confirmation email or the email asking her to apply for the advance?
Deborah, you're on the call. If you can go ahead and reply via chat.
I can't see the chat. My computer's
Oh.
down.
She said that she needs to verify.
Okay. Well, again, my number is 956-427-8533, extension 231. If you don't want to, if we can't answer your call or you don't want to say it out loud, then we can always talk offline.
Yes, ma'am, and I appreciate that.
We have another question from Juan. He's asking if a sole proprietor should use their social security number or EIN on the application.
I think it's up to him, but normally, if I were a sole proprietor, I would probably use my EIN.
Okay, another question.
So just remember, there's 5 programs, 3 are active, 2 are coming on board. Make sure you, and we'll continue with these seminars as the changes come down. And that's pretty much the gist of it.
We have another question from Luis. He's asking if he leaves his cost of goods sold at 0 or because he's a service company.
If what? I'm sorry.
So if he's a service company, does he leave his cost of goods sold at 0?
No. Whatever expenses, what expenses he pays, if he doesn't have any expenses, then it would be hard to receive the loan because you're asking to make yourself whole for the expenses that you're losing. So if you say, for instance, if you're a service and you have a vehicle that you're paying on, that would be considered an expense. Any leasing of a building, any cost to your suppliers, if you have employees, those are all cost of what they would consider cost of goods sold. I think the wording is probably not correct, but that's what I would put there.
Angela, okay, your number, would you mind repeating your number once again? We'll go ahead and add it to the chat they're asking us, if you don't mind.
Yes, 956-427-8533.
And are you operating normal business hours?
We are. I think it's 8 to 4:30 or 5. Just depends. We have folks coming and going all day. Again, if you have a question as well, you can always call the 1-800 number. And let's see.
Another quick question. Wording doesn't really state if local churches can apply. I did see for the EIDL, they can't. Would this apply to all products?
Apply to what?
So there, again, let me repeat that. So wording
Okay, I'm
doesn't
sorry.
see, I don't know, can you see the screen?
No, my computer
Okay.
went off.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so wording doesn't really state if local churches can apply. I did see for the EIDL, they can't. Would this apply to all products?
Again, it's too soon to say. I haven't seen the eligible businesses for the PPP. But in general, I don't think religious organizations can apply as a general rule of thumb. That doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to. It's just for the economic injury disaster loan, I know they cannot. I don't know about the other products yet.
We have another question from Jose. He's asking if the disaster loan application the same for the advance of $10,000. or is there two different applications?
Okay, so in the case if you applied before, like last week or even the week before, you do have to refill out the application. If you have not previously applied, then that would be the only application.
Okay.
Good question.
Let's see. Okay, so they're asking for your number. We have that also available on the chat.
And a one-person small business, all this information applies to them as well because they'll be a sole proprietor, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. And again, Angela, if you don't mind repeating, we do have community partners that are resource partners of SBA that can assist them through the process as well. And I know you mentioned them earlier. Would you mind repeating that information? And we can go back to the screen and possibly put that slide. But we know that our friends and colleagues at UTRGB SBDC. And would you mind once again just recapping that information, please?
Hold on, let me look for it. Okay.
We have it on the screen. Everyone should be able to get that information. If not, we will be sending out the PowerPoint with all the contact information, the phone numbers that you're asking for in an email. And we have your email if you registered for this webinar, so do not worry, you will be getting this information.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any other questions they would like answered?
I say apply, 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 folks.
Let's see. I think we covered many of the actual questions addressed through the chat.
I think one last question, just for those in the service industry. If there's a definition for cost of goods sold pertaining to those service businesses, as they don't have actual products.
Yeah, but they still have a cost to provide that service.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good sold, obviously, but the good is the service. So what does it cost them to be in business to provide that service?
Great. Well, at this moment, if we have no further questions, I would once again, of course, thank our Congressman Filemon Vela and also thank our great friend and advocate of the chamber, Angela Burton. And really quickly, for those that follow us or receive our emails, and if you don't, please feel welcome to email us at info@brownsvillechamber.com. We are hosting tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. We will be hosting a workforce COVID-19 resources webinar. I highly suggest you join us for the conversation. We will be talking and addressing small business owners and employers and employees as well. It's a great opportunity to reacquaint yourselves with the existing resources through Workforce Solutions Camera and through the Texas Workforce Commission. There's many different opportunities of available programs that you can qualify as an employer. I know we all have doubts about, of course, those that have been unemployed recently or those that actually are perhaps considering cutting your number of employees. There's different opportunities. There's Share Work program in which you will learn about tomorrow, in which you can go ahead and, should you be cutting hours, there is a program that can assist with paying the difference of hours to those employees. So there's a lot of information that we're bringing to you. Again, we encourage you to either, if you do not receive our information, send us an email to info@brownsvillechamber.com. Follow us on social media, and Danielle is typing all this information on the chat currently. And register. It is already an event through our social media, especially, well, Facebook. And you can go ahead and register through there. For those that do receive our email blast, you receive the information also. Please register. We do have, we're having typically more than 100 participants per call. And we do have a waiting list, as you know, some are trying to log into this conversation. And again, we want to thank you for joining the conversation, and continue to ask us. You can reach us at 956-542-4341. We're here to help you and your businesses. Angela, again, thank you for all that you do. We appreciate your time, and of course your employees' time. I know that every single day everything changes, and we're here to make sure that we assist you in raising awareness and disseminating this information to everyone.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everything you do, Esme, and I got to tell everyone on the line that when all this began, Esme was the first one to reach out and say, how can I get this information to our members? So I'm very proud of that, of you and the Brownsville Chamber of Commerce and all your staff.
Thank you, Angela. At this time, we will go ahead and have a conversation, of course, with Angela, so we can go ahead and schedule an update soon, and we will continue to notify you of more updates through SBA and other community resources. Have a great afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.